Let's talk about Liverpool's ceiling this season after they have secured some very big names like Alexander Isak and Florian Wirtz. Liverpool's ceiling. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at each of the four competitions they are in, and we're going to just say, is it feasible that Liverpool win this competition? And let's see where we end up at the end of this. All right. So first and foremost, everybody's favorite cup competition, the Carabao Cup. This one, I think, is probably going to happen this year. Liverpool have just been in and around this competition into the final, 4 times over the last 5 years or something. It's crazy like that. There's probably, cup competitions, you never know what's going to happen. I would peg Liverpool to probably make the final of this once again because we have so much talent now, Aaron. I feel like there's going to be some really good players that get to see playing time in the Carabao Cup this season. What do you think, Aaron? Do you think this is a cup competition Liverpool are probably favorites to win this year?
I think with the Carabao Cup, we're always favourites. We hold the record of most Carabao Cup / whatever the old name.
Yeah.
The Carabao Cup used to be the Milk Cup or the, whatever. So I think we're always favourites for this because, we have such a rich history in this cup. And we do take it relatively seriously, and you think about some of the young talent. I think we can put out a really good young team with the likes of Trainioni, Giovanni Leone, the new centre back and things like this. I think Gomez will be massive in this competition, and Leone and Gomez will probably play centre back partnership in this competition. I can see Liverpool going far because I just think we've got so much talent.
Yep.
And you might see a superstar like Rio Namoa really excel in this competition specifically.
And look, this could be a competition where you even see Isak get minutes. You could see Ekitike get minutes. There's so much, and even some of our bigger name midfielders. This could be. I mean, it's kind of sad to say. This could be Curtis Jones, captaining the team throughout this competition, or Joe Gomez could do the same. But I feel like this is a competition that Liverpool should win this year. So let's move on to the second cup competition, the FA Cup. It's been 3 years, I think, since we won this back in 2022. This one is probably a little bit tougher to win than the Carabao Cup. It's kind of the same thing, but FA Cup this year, I could see the same scenario, right? Where Liverpool just have so many players itching to get game time, and not just players that want to play, but players that Arne Slot trusts. So how do you feel about this, Aaron? If Liverpool are walking away with the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, does that sound right to you?
Do you know what? I think if Liverpool win the Carabao Cup, let's say, for instance, we win the Carabao Cup, I think, dependent on how that win looks in the Carabao Cup, is how strong you'll go in the FA Cup. Because I think Slot, let's say, for instance, we go strong in every tournament. I would say we are favourites for pretty much 3 of the 4 tournaments. Yeah. The Premier League, we're already favourites.
Yep.
The Carabao Cup, we are probably favourites, and the FA Cup, we're probably favourites. If he wins the Carabao Cup, fairly comfortably, and we're doing well in the league, I can see him wanting to do a clean sweep. But I think he'll be going strong in Europe because we faded in Europe last season, so he will manage his team a lot better now. He has a lot more faith in his squad. I believe we've got quality everywhere. We've got 2 players pretty much in every position.
Right.
Listen, there's no reason why we can't pick up a few trophies this season. And that is, I know that sounds mad to say with the confidence, but the squad that we've got, the players that we've got, there's just 5 or 6 match winners on the pitch at any one time.
And the biggest question mark in the team right now is our defense. And I do believe, like you do, Aaron, that there could be a massive boost in January in bringing in Mark Guehi for 15 to 20 million pounds. And that could be a huge boost, especially in some of these competitions. as
Hmm.
Arne Slot wants to get him playing time, wants to get him ramped up. Having Mark Guehi in the team for an FA Cup game or a Carabao Cup game, it's a big deal. He's a big game player. And to your point about the Premier League, I don't think there's any question marks here who the favorites are. I think it is Liverpool. You've got pundits who are picking City and Arsenal before the season starts. I think that's foolish, and I think we're already starting to see that. But Liverpool are the favorites to win, especially after securing Alexander Isak. And obviously, this is a marathon, so you can't really chalk it up to luck, or you can't chalk it up to PGMOL or whatever the Arsenal fans want to blame. This is a marathon, and the best team over 38 matches will win. And I do think that will be Liverpool. Okay, so feasibly, these three competitions, Liverpool are favorites to win all three. Doesn't mean they're going to do it, but they are favorites. So the big wild card, the Champions League, this is going to be the toughest competition, I think, for Liverpool. Now, last season, Aaron, don't forget, Liverpool were top of the group phase. No, not the group phase, the league phase. Probably could have gone through that unbeaten, 8 wins, no losses, but they rested pretty much their whole team on that final game against PSV. How do you feel about Liverpool's chances this season? And I've got another slide, but I want to hear your answer to that first before I say that.
I mean, you have to go to Paris Saint-Germain as direct competition for the Cup, because I think Paris Saint-Germain are pretty much the template at the moment in football. Yeah. But it's hard to go back-to-back. There's not many teams in the Champions League that go back-to-back. It's a tough competition. Again, it's a marathon as well. It's not a sprint. The league phase now is 8 guaranteed games in the league phase. And then you go into the knockout stages. It's tough. There's a lot of games on top of a heavy season as well, especially in the Premier League with the rigours that comes with the Premier League. It's a tough competition for Liverpool, but I think you would have to put the likes of Real Madrid, Liverpool, and Paris Saint-Germain at the top of that table, and maybe throw in like an Inter Milan and maybe even a Napoli or something in there. But there's some top teams in here. But we've got to be close to being favourites with the purchases that we've made in the transfer market, with the amount of money that we've spent in the transfer market. And I know we've recouped a lot of money as well, and I want to make that point as well, that Liverpool have done good business. Yeah, both in and out. Yep. Who's better than us?
I'm
asking that question.
According to the OptiComputer, no one. Right? Liverpool actually are favorites this season. Arsenal are second, which I'm a little surprised by. PSG third. But this is, this means basically nothing. But it's the OptiSupercomputer, Aaron. You have to give it a little bit of weight, I guess. I don't know historically if it does get things right, but this is taking into account probably Liverpool's business this summer, maybe a little bit of their performance last season. But I don't disagree with this. I do think Liverpool are one of, if not the best teams in the world. They won the most difficult league comfortably last season. They were in the running, if it weren't for PSG, for that Champions League trophy as well. I know they got out early, but they were in the final of the Carabao Cup, and they got knocked out, resting all their first team players in the FA Cup. So, go back and forth on all that. I don't disagree with this. I'm trying not to be a biased Liverpool fan, but I do think Liverpool, with the players they have now and the manager they have in Arne Slot, are probably the most feared team in Europe. Don't you think, Aaron?
I mean, listen, there's a lot of resentment towards the business that Liverpool have done in the transfer market this season. Everyone would have loved to have gone out and got Alexander Isak. Everybody would have loved to have gone out and bought a top striker. Real Madrid, I mean, I'm surprised they're as low as that on the list, but they don't necessarily function as a team. I don't think, I think Barcelona are a better team structure than Real Madrid. So I can see why that list looks the way it does. But Arsenal, I see where they're so high up on the list. I mean, they have a defence that's almost at times impenetrable.
Yeah.
But when you've got attacks, when you've got an attack like Liverpool, and we can be on our day, we can be as strong at the back on our day as we've proven. But like I said, that Arsenal game was a good template as to where I feel we could be in every single competition this season if they're looked at as the second favourites in Europe. On a different day, Sam, Salah turns it on. On a different day, we walk away with a few goals. Outside of that, Arsenal really didn't create anything. Madueke had a bit of a flash shot. Alisson got down quite comfortably to it. But other than that, they created zero. We could have created a lot more. It was just poor touches all over the park, unfortunately, that prevented us from having more shots and more shots on target.
Yeah, absolutely. Can they win the quad, Aaron? Is it even worth asking? He's making the hand gestures.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and so this is a stupid question. It's ridiculous. But do not forget, most of this team, or at least half of this team, was in for the quad 2 years ago.
Agreed.
So, yeah, probably the most difficult thing to do. It's never been done. Do you think this is what Arne Slot is going for, Aaron?
No, listen. I think Arne Slot is very I think he is quite, as much as he's a very attack-minded manager at times. I think he's also quite pragmatic. You may see another scenario if we get to the final of the Carabao Cup. We whisk that competition away. He manages and maybe looks at, well, I've got that trophy in the bag. That's a trophy. I can look at the FA Cup and give a little bit more rest because we've got the Champions League to look at as well. Yeah. And listen, there's nothing saying that we can't get a really good Championship team and have a performance like we did against Plymouth. That can happen, and I don't think he would walk away from that devastated because he's a professional and he's a really good professional manager as well. I think he would just say, we're going to roll our sleeves up, we're going to go in the Champions League and we're going to make sure that we put everything into that. So, listen,
absolutely.
It's hard, mate. It's hard to say.
Yeah, no. It's a dumb question, and I'm sure I'll get some slack in the comments. But as always, get your comments in below. Let us know what you think. Let's go, Reds of the Reds.